Hi, welcome back. Well, or welcome if this is your first time on my channel. So, welcome, and if I say welcome one more time. Today I'm going to be, I was thinking about doing a Bible study, but I think I'm gonna just read like a very encouraging verse and just pick it apart, basically break it down, try my best to explain it. So why don't we turn to Psalms. Let me put something to bookmark that. Let's turn to Psalms. Ooh, I read this part. I think I'm going to read that. Let's turn to Psalms chapter 85, verse 10. I'm going to give you a second to turn there. Okay, starting at verse 10. Mercy and truth have met together, righteousness and peace have kissed. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Yes, the Lord will give what is good, and our land will yield its increase. Righteousness will go before him and shall make his footsteps our pathway. So I really like that verse, well, those verses, because that's verse 10 through 13. I like the part where it says, mercy and truth have met together, righteousness and peace have kissed. Basically, in this verse, I kind of just look at it as speaking peace, and just having peace inside of you, because peace comes from above. Every good and perfect gift comes from above, so peace does as well. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. The Bible uses a lot of metaphors, and you have to really look deeper into the stuff in the Bible, because it can be like, it could be, what's the word? It can be taken out of context, but you have to really pay attention to what it's saying, because it's deep, but it's literal at the same time. So truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. So basically just an abundance of honesty and righteousness flowing down from heaven where the Lord is seated. So this entire chapter, this chapter, the chapter before, the chapter after, it's just speaking about how lovely God is. And I think that is very important. I'm really just freestyling right now because I didn't want to, like write stuff down. I wanted it to be from the heart. Peace is so important, and it doesn't say it in the Bible. It doesn't talk about us getting these things by just being ourselves. It talks about us getting these things from God and praying for these things and God giving us these things. We don't get peace just from, because we're humans, we don't get peace just from, oh, I'm going to stay out of drama. No, like you have to have peace from God. Our definition of peace and the real definition of peace is not the same thing. Peace is from the Lord. When we try to do stuff on our own and try to be righteous and peaceful and all this stuff, it never works out. But when you include God in that, it's genuine and it's real. Just looking at a verse before that. Let's look back up at verse 8, guys, where it says, Psalms chapter 85, verse 8, where it says, I will hear what God the Lord will speak, and he will speak peace to his people. So this verse is talking about peace a lot to his people and his saints, but let them not turn back to folly. So again, it's saying how God is giving his people peace, but let them not go back to what they were doing before. Let them not go back to chaos, and let them not go back to drama and anything else. So the interesting thing about being a Christian and being saved is because what language am I speaking now? The interesting thing about being a Christian and being saved is when you follow God, you walk into a complete new universe and you have a relationship with him and everything, but the enemy constantly tries to get you to turn back and focus on your past, but don't, because usually when it's hardest to not focus on your past is when there's something in the future that the enemy doesn't want you to see. It's something that God has planned for you that that the enemy is trying to distract you from. So reading that verse again, but let them not turn back to folly. So God is going to give his people peace, but let them not turn back to who they used to be before, who she used to be, who he used to be. Don't turn back to what God has brought you from. Don't turn back to what he saved you from, because there's so much more. There's so much in the future. There's peace in the future. There's happiness in the future. There's joy. There's financial stability. There's emotional stability. There's mental growth in the future. But if you constantly turn back, then you're not going to get anywhere but back to where you were. So guys, thank you for tuning in, and remember to pray and pray for those around you. I love you guys.